we're on.
What is your name?
I go by the handle Mr. Jeff.
What is your favorite video game?
I have no real favorite video game that is current. I'm more of the classic Atari video game generation.
Why?
Because that's the one where I developed most of my gaming skills at.
So what's your favorite Atari game then?
Well, my Atari games were kind of varied, but at that time I was really hooked on, I would have to say, favorite.
You didn't have Pac-Man Fever?
I was like that. I was a generation of Pac-Man Fever, but I was more of the arcade game generation than I was of the home Atari, because like most of us, we didn't have the money for those expensive game consoles back then. Like most of us, we were having to work for a living, and it didn't go on video games. Whereas, what is we could say about this generation today is that more and more kids have gaming systems that I couldn't even have dreamed of, 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any friends that play video games?
Co-workers, a lot of us came up through the same generation. More of them are of the home video games from the Atari 2600 up through the Dreamcast and beyond. They still are gaming even today at this, but they have families to raise, so more of their kids are more of the real true gamers than they are.
Do any of these friends play games with you?
No. A lot of them, they live their lives where they are. I live my life where I am.
Okay.
I'm not one of those ones that sit around with a group of people playing, home video games. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
You got to remember, I'm old.
Yeah. What is your relationship with those friends?
They're co-workers and colleagues.
Yeah.
And so we're going to the point of how are we alienated in society because of video gaming?
Yeah.
Well, in a sense, I'm not alienated. I do get out. Contrary to what certain individuals think about me, I do get out. It's just simply at this point, I'm not one that continues to have like a shut-in clause, that goes with any game or gaming influence.
Okay.
In other words, I won't sit around for 20 hours playing one particular thing in my life, or being tied up in one particular thing, even if it happens to do with nothing to do with gaming. Mm-hmm. I'm just like everybody else. I got things to do and world that I've got to deal with. The idea of the full isolation, 20-hour isolation, is only for a certain age group that I've ever found, because it's sort of like,
I don't like it.
Well, you reach a certain age, that it's you got to point out that, hey, I got to go get a job. If I'm going to afford new video games, I got to get a job, even if it's just wearing a paper hat for 8 hours. It's still a job, That way I could do more Warcraft or whatever I need in my life. It fills up our lives, don't it?
Yeah.
But then again, is it isolating a generation from society? I would say no, only in particular ideas of one generation's time. Instead, there's no full interaction in society. It's partial interaction in society. They're usually around gamer friends, going out getting a pizza somewhere, or just hanging out. That's our predisposition in society anyhow. But the idea is that one completely blocks out all those influences to concentrate solely on one game, like a psychosis. In extreme cases, we do have that. We've had that in a good example on the MySpace incident recently, where one youth took his life by pills, and basically the viewing audience were so tuned in that they didn't stop to think about, well, this is wrong. Why don't we inform somebody, an adult, what is going on here? Because it's curiosity. You're caught up in the moment. You say, oh, come on, you got the eggers on. They'll say, oh, this is fake, dude. Come on, this isn't happening. Well, the point is that you always give a benefit of a doubt that possibly this can happen, and it did. Sadly, it did happen.
No one had it. Everyone thought it was fake.
Right. Well, or at least that they were in a point of disbelief. It's kind of like where we were in the same sort of psychosis in 9/11. We were so hooked on the event itself that it superseded all things. Whether we need to inform people, of how we're feeling at that moment. We're transfixed by the media event. The media event rules our lives. For basically 48 hours there, it socially paralyzed the country between those who could not deal with it and those that were just furious at it. But that's another form of media manipulation, and in a lot of ways, the gaming industry is just another form of media manipulation. That's where we need to have this kind of self-interest where we sit around and we'll tell everybody, okay, now I'm hip, I'm cool because I got this game and I'm online with people, and if so, then my life will be better because of it. In the truth, it doesn't change anything. It just simply takes up more of your time that you would have had for other ventures in your life. A lot of us, oh, thanks, Kat. Yeah, huck up. I knew she'd do that. Thanks, Kat. It's another one of our social interactions that we have. Now the animals get in with it. But anyway, the sad part is every time we go on, now is Robbie saying ick. That's nature. That's something we have no control on. I mean, I can see the guy that's sitting in a mobile home park somewhere in Kansas saying I'm up on this level of Warcraft. It goes, oh, it's a tornado. We've seen them before.
Hey, may I interject something about trailer parks and old men? If we hook Jeff up online, he'd be that old man on World of Warcraft.
I'm not. I do get out a lot. I get out a lot more than you do, Russ.
You got a car.
Speaking of
you got to set legs.
We got to chain up an argument. And
okay. Speaking on this subject, do you play any of those games, online video games?
No, I'm not internet connected. Even if I was, I still wouldn't be because I have other things I would be utilizing.
Do you have friends that play those games?
Oh, that'd be David, actually.
Yeah, who was a big Warcraft, God rest him, was Paul Kinnear,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But we already know what happened with Paul, you know.
Yeah.
So that is a form of social alienation that did catch up with him in some respect. But you knew the other aspect of Paul. In a sense, we're not going to go into any deliberations about it, but in a sense, he did get out. He did meet with friends. He was socially active as a person. But there's a part of him that needed that, to feel that he was escaping his boundaries.
I always felt it was his father's fault.
Well, there's a lot of societal pressure that goes on us to succeed, become something, and parents sometimes don't see that, when they force the children into certain aspects of society that they're not quite ready for. A lot of people never are quite ready to be, part of the great unwashed. To them, it's like a social pariah, to be this kind of like button down, 9-to-5 job working person. And the sad part is that we are going to be conditioned to do that anyhow because of the necessities in society. That is, i.e., don't want to die poor.
Cut it.
Okay.
Ask your last question because
It's the wind-up, not the cut. The cut's across the throat. The wind-up is sort of like, okay, you milked it long enough, let's get it done.
Yeah, because we only have like 10 minutes.
Has this interview enlightened anything for you?
It's enlightened me to the fact is that if we think it's bad now, just wait until another 5 years, when we have other aspects of society, that will be nurtured in this way. In other words, you're only getting the partial affiliation of it now. But when a society creates this subculture, it tends to grow more and more prevalent from year to year. And that's what we're afraid of too, is that we have certain branches of society that basically tune in and drop out. In other words,
things like what happened in Fahrenheit 451.
Well, where we say now that the written word is dead, I would say the electronic word is king now.
Yeah. So
this is what we are. We are products of electronic molding, is what we are. We're productors.
Yeah.
Yes, and